lesson, we're going to review some business applications that involve linear functions. First type of problem is writing a linear equation to solve a problem. A fence builder buys a post hole digger for $85,000. The digger is expected to last 15 years, after which its value will be $10,000. Write the linear function that describes the value of the equipment at any time during its lifetime. So, whenever we're trying to write a linear equation, we first need to find the rate at which the equipment depreciates, and then we write the function in point-slope form. In order to find the rate at which the equipment depreciates, we need to find two ordered pairs within our problem. So we know that when they buy the post hole digger that it's worth $85,000. So at time equals 0, my value is $85,000. We know after 15 years, the equipment's going to depreciate to $10,000. So 15 is my t, 10,000 is my value. I'm going to find the rate of change of this, so I'm going to actually be looking for the slope. So I have 10,000 minus 85,000 divided by 15 minus 0. That leaves me with negative 75,000 over 15, which is negative 5,000. That means that the rate at which the equipment depreciates is $5,000 per year. We're now going to write our function in point-slope form. The reason why we do point-slope form is 1, it's easier and quicker, and 2, we could choose a point so that it reduces into slope-intercept form. But as you get higher into mathematics, you really only use point-slope form anyway. It's much more efficient. So just a reminder of what point-slope form is. It's y is equal to the slope m times x minus x1, which is the x value of a random point we have on the line, plus y1, which is the y value of a random point. So I'm going to choose the point 0.85 just because 0 is always nice to simplify with. I have v of t, which is my value, is equal to negative 5,000 times t minus 0 plus 85,000. When I simplify that by distributing the negative 5,000, I get v of t is equal to negative 5,000 t plus 85,000. The next type of problem we're going to look at is cost, revenue, and profit. The Goodbye Company manufactures DVD players. Their marketing department finds that if the company manufactures and sells X DVD players per day, its costs are C of X equals 150X plus 10,000, and its revenues are R of X equals 400 times X. Find the profit function and the number of DVD players that must be produced and sold in order to break even. So, just a reminder that the profit function is found by taking the revenue function and subtracting the cost function. So that's 400x minus 150x plus 10,000. We always want to simplify our functions completely, so I'm going to distribute that negative sign and combine the 400 and the negative 150, which gives me a profit function of 250x minus 10,000. Now, in order to find where the company is breaking even, there's two ways we can do that. We could either find where the revenue is equal to the cost, or we can find where the profit is equal to 0. Since I have the profit function already, I'm just going to set that equal to 0, just because it's a little less algebra. But if you don't have the profit function, I would probably just do that first option, which is set revenue equal to cost. So I have 250 minus 10,000 is equal to 0. I move the 10,000 over and divide it by the 250. So that leaves me with x equals 40. That means that there's no profit, or you could say the revenue equals the cost, when 40 DVD players are produced and sold. Graphically, we could see here, there is my cost in red, my revenue is in green. Their intersection right here is at 40. And then you could also see the profit function has an intersection with the x-axis, showing that it's 0 at x equals 40 as well. The last type of topic that we're going to go over is supply and demand. So remember that supply and demand have an inverse relationship. Supply is always increasing where demand is decreasing. Where they intersect is called the equilibrium point. That's not to be confused with the break even with cost and revenue. It's a totally different topic. Market equilibrium occurs when the supply and demand functions are equal. If there is more demand than there is supply, we have a market shortage. If there's more supply than there is demand, then we have a market surplus. The supply and demand functions for oranges, both in thousands of bushels, are given by supply is equal to 1500 P minus 15,000, and demand equals 17,500 minus 1,000 P, where P is the price per bushel. Determine the market equilibrium. So in order to find the market equilibrium, we're looking for where supply and demand are equal to each other, which is what I do. The next step is to get those P terms together and the constant functions together. So I added 1,000 P and I added the 15,000 to the other side. Dividing by 2,500 on both sides gives me a P of 13 and a Q of 4,500. Q I found by either using the supply or the demand function by plugging that price per bushel in. So here's my market equilibrium. And again, graphically, we could see at 13. Here's my demand function in blue. My supply function is in green. There's their intersection, and we could see that's roughly at about 4,500.